This video is about polynomial long division. Let's get started. Before we do polynomial long division, I think it'd be helpful if we practice just basic long division. I'm guessing it's been a couple years since you have done long division by hand. Okay, so let's pick a number 4,255 and divide that by the number 23. So the process that I use is I ask myself, 23 goes into 42 how many times? And the answer is 1. It goes into it 1 time. And so then I take 1 and I multiply it by 23 and I get 23. The next step is where I subtract 42 minus 23 and I get 19. I then bring down the 5, I carry that down, and I now have 195. And I start that process all over again. I ask myself, 23 goes into 195, or the way we'll think about it with polynomials, 23 times what is 195? And the closest I can get that's less than 195 is 8. So 8 times 23 is 184. I do the same thing and I subtract 195 minus 184 and I get 11. I then bring down the 5 and I start all over again. 23 goes into 115 how many times? Or the way we'll think about it for polynomials is 23 times what is 115? And that happens to be exactly 5. So 23 times 5 is 115. I will still follow this all the way through. I will subtract and I get 0, which means that 23 divides evenly into 4,255, or that we'll talk about several classes in the future, 23 is a factor of 4,255. Okay, but this process, at least for today, the process of 23 times what is this number, okay, we do that, and then we subtract, and then we pull down the next number, and we keep going. Okay, that long division algorithm is the exact one that we'll use in polynomial long division. The first step in my long division algorithm is to set up for division and add missing x terms. For example, in this problem, now as far as some vocabulary, keep in mind that the top number is the dividend. That's what's being divided. And the bottom number is the divisor. So we're looking at both the divisor and the dividend and looking for missing x terms. And I notice that in the dividend, I have 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2. So I'm missing an x term in the dividend. That's what I mean by add missing x terms. I will think about it as plus 0x plus 2. Now, I'm going to write that down using our kind of long division notation. And I'll write the dividend inside the division bracket. And the divisor goes outside of the bracket. All right. Notice I've set that up and I've added in missing x terms. That 0x squared is that missing term. The next thing is I will ask myself, what times the divisor is the dividend? Okay. In this one, I'll ask myself 2x, this number right here, 2x times what is 2x cubed? Okay. And there's really two things going on here. I have the number, so 2 times what is 2, and that's 1, which I don't actually need there. And then x times what is x cubed? Okay, and I think of that as x squared. So x times x squared will be x cubed. All right, and then I multiply the top number, this x squared, by each divisor and put that under the dividend. So what that means is I will multiply x squared times both of these terms. So x squared times 2x is 2x cubed. And x squared times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. All right, so I've multiplied that times every term in the divisor, and I've put those under the dividend. And notice I'm making columns of the same exponents to keep everything organized, because this will get messy, especially if you make a mistake somewhere. So I'm trying to be very careful in keeping it very organized. The next step is where you change all the signs and add. So before, in our standard algorithm, we subtracted. And we're doing the exact same thing here, but I found that it's much easier if I change all the signs and then add, as opposed to subtracting. So I'll change all the signs. And one thing that I do, this is not standard notation, this is just Mr. Lewis, I will change it and then circle the change. Change it and circle the change, so that I know that I changed the sign. If you just change the sign, you might get confused about what did I change, what did I not change, and finding my mistakes. Okay, so I'll change all the signs and circle my change, and then I'm going to add. So 2x cubed minus 2x cubed, that cancels out. And then I have negative 4x squared plus 2x squared. So I have negative 4x squared, and I add 2 more x squared, I'm becoming less negative, and I have negative 2x squared. Okay, my next step is to carry down the next term. So just like before, I will bring this term down plus 0x. Then I'm going to repeat steps 2 through 5. Until you can't divide anymore. So here we go. I'm going to keep repeating steps 2 through 5. I go back up here and keep doing those over and over again. So I ask myself, what times the divisor is the dividend, meaning 2x times what is negative 2x squared. And I think about that into both the coefficient and the variable. So 2 times what is negative 2, and the answer is a negative 1, or I'll just leave it as a negative. And then x times what is x squared, and the answer is x. So I've 2x times negative 2 is negative 2x squared. So I now I multiply the top, this negative x, by each term in the divisor, and put that under the dividend. So negative x times 2x is negative 2x squared. It should be the exact same as above it, so it will cancel out later. And negative x times negative 2, a negative times a negative is a positive, and x times 2 is 2x. I will then change all the signs and add. So I change the sign and circle the change. Change the sign and circle a change, and I'm going to add. Negative 2x squared plus 2x squared is 0. That just cancels out. That's nice. And I have 0x minus 2x is a minus 2x. And I'll carry down the next term. And then I repeat. Okay? What times the divisor, or is the dividend? So 2x times what is negative 2x? Well, think about the numbers alone. 2 times what is negative 2? And the answer is negative 1. And then x times what is x? Well, it's also 1. So I think it's just negative 1. Negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x, and negative 1 times negative 2 is plus 2. All right, so those are the exact same, which makes me feel like I'm on the right track, but I will still change all the signs, and add. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0, that cancels. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, and I have repeated those steps until I can't divide anymore. Okay, and then the last thing is the quotient is what is above the dividend. Which means this right here is the thing that as I multiply it by 2x minus 2, I get 2x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2. Okay, or when I divide that, that's what I get, is x squared minus x minus 1. Okay, now this is a messy process, and it's very prone to errors, especially sign errors, which is why be very careful with that change all the signs and add step is a very, very tricky one. Okay, let me show you this one more time with one more example to give you another way of looking at it. We will determine the quotient of 2x to the fourth plus 14x cubed plus x squared minus 21x minus 6 divided by 2x squared minus 3. Again, the first step is that I'll rewrite this, but I will include any missing x terms. Now, looking at the numerator, the dividend, I don't see any missing x terms. I see fourth power, third power, second power, first power, constant term. That's all fine. Okay. The divisor this time, however, has 2x squared minus 3. So in here, I'm missing my x term. Do you see that? So I will add a 0x in there as I write this problem out again. That's important. If that's not there, if you have any missing x terms, then your columns won't line up right and it will get really messy really fast. Trust me. So I'll rewrite this including my missing x's. All right, here we go. So 2x squared times what is 2x to the fourth? Well, it's x squared. And then I multiply x squared times each term in the divisor. So x squared times 2x squared is 2x to the fourth. And this should be the exact same thing as what's above it. And x squared times 0x, well, anything times 0 is going to be 0. But I will keep, just for my organization, I will keep the right variable as x squared times x is x cubed. Okay, just keep everything organized. And then x squared times negative 3 is a negative 3x squared. I will then change all the signs and circle the change, and I will add. 2x to the fourth minus 2x to the fourth is 0. That cancels, and that should happen every single time. 14x cubed minus 0x cubed is still 14x cubed. I didn't take away any, so I still have 14x cubed. X squared plus 3 more x squareds is a total of 4x squares. And then I will bring down the next term, and I will start again. 2x squared times what is 14x cubed. So I think about the coefficient separately. 2 times what is 14? It's plus 7. Okay, 7 times 2 is 14. And then x squared times what is x cubed? Well, x squared times 1 more x is x cubed. So now I will multiply 7x times everything in the divisor. 7x times 2x squared is 14x cubed. And 7x times 0x, well, 7 times 0 is 0, or 0 times anything is 0. But for organization purposes, I will keep my variables of x times x is x squared. And 7x times negative 3 is a negative 21x. I will then change all the signs and circle my change so I know what I changed, and so I can kind of find my errors and double check things. Okay, so I'll circle the change. That's a Mr. Lewis notation. It's not a standard notation. Next, we will, we're going to add. So 14x cubed minus 14x cubed, that cancels, and that should happen. That first term should cancel. 4x squared minus 0x squared. I didn't take away any, so I still have 4x squared. And negative 21x plus 21x also cancels. But for organization, I will put plus 0x just to keep everything organized. I will then bring down the next term, minus 6, and start all over again. 2x squared times what is 4x squared? Well, 2 times what is 4, and that is 2. And then x squared times what is x squared? And it's just 1. So that means that 2 times 2x squared is 4x squared. All right, I'll keep going, multiplying 2 times everything in the divisor. 2 times 0x is just 0x, because 0 times anything is 0. And then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Okay, I like how those are the exact same. That makes me feel like I'm on the right track. I will now change all the signs and circle my change, and I will add. And 4x squared minus 4x squared, that just cancels. That should always happen, that first term. And 0x minus 0x is 0x. And then negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Okay, which makes me know that 2x squared minus 3 is divides evenly into 2x to the fourth plus 14x cubed plus x squared minus 21x minus 6. Or that 2x squared minus 3 is a factor of 2x to the fourth plus 14x cubed plus x squared minus 21x minus 6. All right, this video is about polynomial long division. Thank you for watching.